Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. The union representing rail workers wants answers over the future of staff for the West Coast Wilderness Railway. It says they were not consulted about an upcoming 3-month shutdown, which could leave some out of pocket. But the government says all employees will be looked after.
A new era for one of the state's favourite tourist destinations. The iconic West Coast Wilderness Railway will get a $16 million upgrade.
That business is here to stay. It needs some help and we'll be providing them with upgrades in the near future.
It comes just weeks after a derailment at Strong caused cancellations, leaving tourists disappointed.
We had heard from a number of places that it's a great thing to do, so we were very disappointed that we couldn't do it.
The upgrades will see the line closed from June 5. Not everyone, though, is on board, with the rail union claiming staff weren't consulted.
We didn't find out until very late yesterday. We had members contacting us with serious concerns about their future.
The community needs to understand, particularly those on the West Coast who are hearing this news for the first time and wondering what this means for their job.
They're looking for a briefing from management and assurances staff will be supported during the shutdown.
Particularly those that are employed on a casual basis. They need to be assured of some financial support.
Everybody who can be completely confident in their employment and the business going forward, we look forward to sharing that with the union.
Meanwhile, 13 bridges across Tasmania will get a new lease on life through a $100 million state and federal government program.
Been specifically strengthened to be able to accommodate longer, heavier loads, but also over a longer lifetime.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
A driver has captured the moment long grass went up in flames in Moraine. The fireball erupted next to the Tasman Highway just before 10:30 last night. Fire crews from the local area worked to bring the blaze under control. Thick smoke impacted visibility on the roads, with police forced to divert traffic. The cause is yet to be determined. A man believed to be in his 30s is still unidentified more than 24 hours after being hit by a car and then a truck at Sprayton. The man has short brown hair, was wearing blue jeans and a grey T-shirt featuring a Mr Happy picture on it when he was hit. He's currently in a critical condition in the Royal Hobart Hospital. Anyone with information is urged to contact Devonport Police. Police have released images of several ewes they're chasing nearly a week after they reportedly harmed defenceless penguins in Burnie. One penguin needed to be treated by a vet following the incident on Sunday. Authorities are especially keen to identify a girl who was carrying a bright backpack. Anyone who can help should contact Crime Stoppers. Another Tasmanian football club is facing the threat of going into recess just weeks before the season begins. The Hobart Tigers are this weekend issuing a call to arms in a bid to boost dwindling player numbers.
When Kyle Wilson joined Hobart in 1990, he says the club took him in like a family member.
They supported me very, very well. The coaching staff did under Mark Browning, and we're very fortunate enough to play in the premiership that year.
While for Scott Wade, his family bled yellow and black.
Any person with the surname Wade has pretty much played at the Hobart Footy Club, so Hobart Footy Club has really fond memories for me.
Tracing its origins back to Federation, Hobart is a stalwart of local footy, winning 10 senior flags. From Ian Stewart to Alistair Lynch to Chris Fagan, the Tigers have blooded some of the game's greats, but their mighty roar could soon go silent.
The numbers have fluctuated between sort of 15 and 25. We think we're sort of around the 20 mark at the moment. We know we've got work to do.
After losing a coach 7 weeks out from the SFL season, the club is now looking to save their skins. A call to arms is being held tomorrow at the TCA ground in a last-ditch bid to put a team on the park.
A number of supporters, past players, etc. in attendance. We're sort of calling on anyone that's keen to play footy this year, either to return to the club or whether they're new to pull the boots on.
If you're involved with any club and you've got excess numbers and you don't think you're going to get a game, we can certainly get a game with Hobart.
The Tigers' woes come just weeks after TSL side Glenorchy were almost forced into recess due to a similar issue. It's hoped tomorrow's rally will band past, present and new players together and keep the club from going the way of so many others.
And going into recess, that places that at risk. That's not something that we're looking to do.
It's a great club, it's been around for a long time and I'm sure it'll continue to be around.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Adolescent artists are jumping at the chance to display their creations in a pop-up digital art gallery. The City of Hobart's Youth Arts and Recreation Centre is now accepting applications from Tasmanians as young as 12.
It's a normal brick lane you wouldn't usually do a double take of, but come May 5 it will be hard not to stop and stare. Hobart's Light Up the Lane festival projecting digital artworks onto buildings, fences, windows, doors and footpaths.
If you think of having a frame is professional, having the frame be a building at an event, way better.
It's really cool. It's almost a little overwhelming seeing it blown up to massive proportions like that.
The event is designed specifically for young artists aged 12 to 25.
It's really important to have artists, especially young artists, be able to see theirs in a professional and respected sense, since young people aren't usually respected until they've got like a PhD or a gallery entry.
Our youth actually offer a very unique voice around issues and various different problems that are going on in our society.
Live music, food, interactive activities and dance performances also set to complement the pop-up gallery.
I do K-pop dancing, so Korean pop music, and when I'm dancing it's so good hearing like everyone cheering and you know, like giving me strength.
The City of Hobart's Youth Arts and Recreation Centre will be taking online submissions until April 14. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Labor is slamming the state government following recent Right to Information suggesting the Premier's Department and Cabinet spent $3 million on consultants and advertising over a 10-month period.
On our televisions right now is $1 million advertising campaign to tell us that we should really appreciate renewable energy, which we've known for 100 years. That's the sort of wasteful spending that highlights that this government has lost the plot.
Labor wants to rubbish consultants. What they're actually doing is rubbishing traffic engineers, civil engineers who build bridges and strengthen them, and architects who design hospitals. So if they want to cut those services, they'll be cutting Tasmania's future infrastructure pipeline.
The opposition says the money could have been better spent on cost of living relief, health and education. Well, locally again now, and entries are now open for a stationary cycling challenge raising funds for sick and disadvantaged children. Variety Tasmania's Spin for Kids event will see teams of up to 10 spend 5 hours on a spin bike dressed in more than just lycra.
It's a chance for everybody to put on a tutu and dress up just for the fun, but also for raising valuable funds for valuable work in the community.
We started it last year. Last year we had 12 teams and we raised $17,000 net. This year we're hoping for $25,000.
The challenge will take place at the Hobart Netball and Sports Centre this May. If you're keen to enter, get in quick. There's only 28 spots available. Tasmanian pubs are tonight dusting off the shamrocks and taking on a distinctive green tint to mark St Patrick's Day. Those with a love of all things Irish have been out in force, keen for a pint and raising a glass to the patron saint of Ireland.
For some, it's a way to celebrate heritage and history.
They love it. They enjoy the pipes and the drums, and yeah, we have a bit of fun.
For others, it's a lucky day to celebrate.
Because it's my birthday. I'm so excited to celebrate with everyone.
It's also our wedding anniversary, so we've set up so every year we get to party with everyone.
St Patrick's Day festivities taking over pubs across the state, making an art form out of serving an iconic stout. Guinness going gangbusters.
All our staff are very well trained in the perfect pour, which is actually very important.
Champion Guinness pourer Beck is well versed in the famous two-part pour, with patrons needing to wait around 2 minutes at the bar while their stout settles. It comes as no surprise that today is one of the busiest trading days of the year at the Irish. Bar staff are expecting to pull at least 2,000 pints of Guinness, with the party set to go into the wee hours of the morning.
So I'm expecting it to be really big tonight because it's a Friday, really. It's an excuse for celebrating a Friday and St Patrick's Day.
With many a toast, whether you're Irish or not.
This is a cousin of mine, Billy McGuinness, so I thought I'd drink him today. Here's to you, Billy.
Annie Green, 7 Tasmania News.
The thylacine statues in Launceston's Brisbane Street Mall could soon have a new home. 10 bronze tigers were installed 5 years ago, but quickly were considered a hazard, resulting in some pedestrians tripping over them. Local council officers have recommended they be relocated to raised garden beds in Civic Square and replaced with additional greenery. Council will consider the recommendation at its meeting on Thursday. And Launceston City Council is also considering a proposal to lower the speed limit in the CBD to 40 kilometres an hour. Roads around the Mowbray and Kings Meadows shopping centres could also be reduced, while a number of other roads could see sections slashed from 60 to 50. The public will have a chance to have its say if the recommendations are adopted at next week's meeting.
Tim Payne has left the field to a guard of honour, retiring after an 18-year first-class cricket career. The former Aussie skipper played in 35 tests and one-day internationals. He's finished with a Tasmanian record 196 wicket-keeping dismissals at Shield level. Tigers captain Jordan Silk says he'll be missed behind the stumps.
I'm sure a lot of guys who aren't playing now will say that there will never be another keeper as good as Tim Payne in Australia. So we've been incredibly blessed down here.
Queensland batted out the final day to see the match end in a draw. Western Australia will host Victoria in next week's final. Hundreds of athletes are ready and raring to go ahead of tomorrow's Devonport Triathlon. The event attracting some of the world's top para-athletes and Olympians to the Apple Isle, with final training sessions now complete ahead of 2 days of rigorous racing.
An iconic race returning to the Mercy Bluff for its 38th edition. Triathletes from around the world are gearing up to descend on Devonport.
The athletes love it. I mean, the scenery is beautiful. So, yeah, it's superb.
I'm feeling really good and excited for tomorrow.
Many race regulars returning to the northwest coast, ready to take on the sand, surf and streets.
With the ocean swim, the hilly ride up North Road, and then the, I guess, picturesque run along the coast. It's awesome, and yeah, I think it's a race that plays to people's strengths.
It's quite technical, so it really makes it an honest race and is very challenging for everyone out there.
Final preparations are underway, with not one but 2 events taking place. The Oceania Triathlon Cup, as well as the World Para Series, touching down in Devonport for the first time since 2020.
I'll be competing in the PTVI, or Para-Triathlon Vision Impaired category. It's a World Para-Triathlon Series meet for us, so there'll be 8 other international athletes competing.
Ready to show off their athletic prowess across 2 days of competition.
If you're on the start line, you're always a chance of winning, so just try to go through what you've been doing in training and see how the result comes out at the end.
A flat and fast run, making it a fight to the finish line.
Tasmania's medal haul has grown at the National Track Cycling Championships in Brisbane. Hobart's Felicity Wilson-Huffenden won gold in the individual pursuit final after flying around the velodrome a full second faster than her qualifying time. While Launceston's Sam McKee will add silver in the individual pursuit to the gold medal he won earlier in the week. Crosstown rivals Launceston City and Riverside Olympic will go head-to-head under lights tonight as the Tasmanian NPL season kicks off. City is set to play host to a well-drilled Riverside squad.
They do sit in a block quite well and they defend quite well, so I think breaking down that is probably going to be our biggest challenge tonight.
In the Women's Super League, South Hobart is hoping to bounce back when they take on the Kingborough Lions after a disappointing Summer Cup final which ended in a doomed penalty shootout with Clarence Zebras.
We just see Summer Cup as pre-season, so that's over, that's done with. We don't keep that in our minds and we move forward and look forward to the whole season.
We're just going to have to be really confident, really loud, physical, skill on the ball, and also teamwork makes the dream work. So
they play at 2 p.m. at South Hobart Oval on Sunday. Jack Jumpers head coach Scott Roth is hoping to hear an answer on Milton Doyle's future at the club in the coming days, eager to see the MVP return for another season.
Right now my focus is to try to get Milt across the line. That will obviously give me some better indication of what we need. I think we're in good status with Milt. I'm hoping in the next few days we get a yes or no really.
And with basketball participation booming across the state, Tasmania's next generation of stars are also set to benefit from a number of new community clinics. A fresh partnership with Banjos will see the Jack Jumpers help more than 2,500 children get a taste of life on the court.
it's quite amazing when you walk into those buildings and you see teachers and students with jack jumper gear on. And it really hits home that the brand is really throughout the entire state.
They are our future just as much as they are the jack jumpers' future. And what goes better than food and sport?
More than 70 events will see little athletes from all corners of the state get involved. And Tasmania's Ella Mora is heading to the Sunshine State after being traded from North Melbourne to the Gold Coast for the next AFLW season. The inevitable has arrived in Melbourne for tomorrow's $5 million All-Star Mile. Despite being an outsider with the bookies, Scott Brunton's gelding comes in having won his last 6 races. With the eye-watering prize money on display, Brunton told RaceNet you won't see him for a month if his horse gets up. And tonight's Friday Flashback is marking 30 years since a Tasmanian scaled what was Melbourne's tallest building. In 1993, Louise Fairfax stormed to victory in the Rialto run-up, a feat which had reporters at the time clamouring for an interview.
Before Today Tonight, there was Real Life.
With Stan Grant.
Welcome to Real Life, where Launceston's light-footed mountain runner Louise Fairfax came to life in a special feature.
Is this the normal pace you run at?
Yep.
I'm being beaten by a lamb.
She'd claimed the national spotlight because of this, Melbourne's Rialto Tower, once the tallest building in the Southern Hemisphere and home to the Rialto run-up, where runners scaled its gruelling 54 floors. Fairfax's training ground, Launceston's Myer Centre, was only 7. But through incredible fitness and sheer determination, the 42-year-old mother of 2 floored her rivals, charging up each leg-burning floor.
Where does she go? She's still going. Where? Up there, darling. That's it. Go.
Her first stair climb ever yielded a crowning glory as Fairfax reached the Rialto summit ahead of the pack.
I practiced on the biggest building in town, which is 7 stories high, so I was a bit nervous about 54.
While the run claimed plenty of casualties, Fairfax leapt ahead to become a legend of the mountain running scene, leaving reporters chasing her story breathless.
Getting old, Chris.
Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. Hobart, Launceston, Burnie and Devonport all reached 20 degrees today. 21 the top for Friendly Beaches and St Helens, King Island, Ouse, Lowhead, Flinders Island all 19. 17 the top for Strawn, Lyowini 13. High level cloud over the south today, some low to mid-level cloud over other parts of the state and relatively clear off the east coast. Isolated thunderstorms over the tropics with some cloud over parts of Victoria, New South Wales, WA and Tasmania. The rest of the country is relatively cloud-free. Tomorrow a low sits to the west of the state, crossing over in the afternoon. Another low and some troughs over northern WA will extend into South Australia and a high near New Zealand will push over the east coast. North to northwesterly winds of 15 to 25 knots, reaching up to 30 at times, tending more south to southwesterly throughout the afternoon. There's a strong wind warning from east of Flinders Island to the central west coast. A shower or 2 and 26 in Hobart tomorrow. Medina a shower or 2, also 23. A possible shower for Oatlands. Launceston, a possible morning shower, 23 and a shower or 2 for Devonport, Lyowini 18. 22 for Burnie and Strawn, a morning shower or 2 for Marrawar. 25 at St Helens with a possible morning shower, 27 the top for Swansea, a partly cloudy 26 for Orford. And tomorrow's UV will sit at highs, 6s across the state. Showers about the west and south on Sunday, extending to the east during the day. Monday, some morning showers for the south and west and evening showers about the north. And more showers for the North and Bass Strait Islands on Tuesday, fine elsewhere. Hot in Melbourne tomorrow, 37, mostly sunny for Sydney, Brisbane and Adelaide, a sunny 28 for Perth. And right now in Hobart and Devonport it's 16, Launceston 17. Kim, I've got my Geelong colours on. I'm calling it early back-to-back premierships.
Okay, brave, good luck. And that wraps up your news for this Friday. Louise is back with you tomorrow night. Thanks for your company this week. Good night.